times in the summer where it might appear to be a good time to do some summer reading. I don't know, I'm always reading spiritual books for classes myself, but this month we've based the talks on 2 books. The second book that we're going to start today. The first book was Living Big with Pam Grau. She wrote that. And the second one is The Universe Has Your Back, and that's by Gabrielle Bernstein. So these are really great books. And so 2 weeks ago, because we had Bhante Wimala here last week, we talked about living big through kindness. And we talked about give big through service. And loving big by connecting with the innate spiritual qualities that are within yourself and within others. And those of you who weren't here, the charge last time I did a talk was I included index cards in the bulletins, and on that card you were going to write to somebody that they are letting them know that they are really loved and appreciated. And if you really knew the person, you could sign your name. If you didn't know the person, you can send it anonymously, or you could just write a beautiful note out on these cards and put them in someone's mailbox, a neighbor, an elderly person, something like. Did anyone do that at all? Oh, yes! Oh, I'm so excited. You actually listened to my talk. Okay. So how was that experience for you?
Great.
It was, you felt really good about it?
Really good about it.
Good, good. How about you, Marianne?
I actually put it on Mary's car windshield and she didn't know it, and she never said anything, so I had to like shut up and not say, did you get it, did you get it? And it was pouring rain the night that I did it, so I was hoping that the ink didn't run.
I was wondering what that was about.
And Dana?
Well, right after the talk, right out here, I had this necklace on, and Marianne loved it, and it was her birthday, and she said, oh, I want that necklace, and I gave it to her. And I just received the nicest card yesterday, yesterday from her, thanking me for the necklace.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. That is so beautiful. So, you see how that enables us and encourages us to live big lives. And big lives doesn't mean mansions and yachts and all of that, although that's not bad. Not saying anything bad about that stuff. But it means to just a simple act like you just heard these 3 wonderful people carry about, living that kindness, just performing kind acts can change other people's lives. And yours, because it's always reciprocal. So today we're going to explore our second book, which is The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And that's not the full title, because the full title is this: The Universe Has Your Back, How to Feel Safe and Trust Your Life No Matter What. So that's kind of really long. I would never remember that whole entire thing. And it's pretty appropriate, though, for the world that we live in today, I think. Because in the aftermath of all our national and international challenges that we are going through, it feels like turmoil. I mean, we have the immigration camps, we have mass shootings taking place, fears and uncertainty in the direction of our country's leadership, climate control. There's so much that we are bombarded with. Now, I personally don't watch the news just because I don't watch TV too much, although I like TV. But I don't watch it too much, and I'm getting this, it filters in, if you know this. It's on your computer, it pops up. I mean, you're always getting these messages. So it's extremely important for us to remember what it means not only to live big, the way that we define this month, but to know at the core of our being that the universe always has our back, that we are always being divinely guided. We are. So whatever actions we take, We come from that place of knowing that we are guided when we really get in tune. That's why classes like the ones that were just taught, the one that was just taught, really gets us connected to that indwelling self that we keep talking about, our divinity, our God self. So in my written description of today's talk that went out in our newsletter, I was going to explore two concepts from the book, but I'm going to follow some ministerial advice, whereas the talk and the description don't always match what the talk is actually going to be when you get here. It changes, it shifts. So we're going to veer a little bit, but you wouldn't even know that because it's all in divine order, it's all in flow. I never know the readings, I never know, well I do know the music, but I don't, some ministers have everything match or be the same thing. I just trust that the universe is all inclusive and everything fits together, and it always does. But today, we're going to focus on one really important, big, universal truth inspired by this book. And that is, we are always being guided, even when it doesn't feel, look, or seem like it. Because it doesn't always feel that way. But when we're paying attention, we are always divinely guided. This is a fundamental, foundational concept upon which this statement is based. There is one. There's only one concept in which that principle is based. Every experience that we have is here to grow us. Every experience that we have is here to grow us. All right? Individually as one person here on this planet Earth, and collectively as New Jerseyans. Is that a word?
It is now.
It is now. New Jerseyans, as U.S. citizens, and as global citizens. We are global citizens of this world. We're all interconnected. And every experience that we have is here to grow us. Therefore, we're always being guided to the experiences that will grow us. Because we all have, they're all the same, but collectively, individually, it feels like ours is a little different from someone else's, but they're all doing the same thing. The beauty of what we do here is we become aware. We live our lives consciously. We live our lives on purpose. Even the events that may have taken place in our lives the last couple of weeks, even a scary diagnosis, or perhaps a financial challenge, any of those things are here to grow us. Every experience. And here in the middle of the growth, in the middle of all of it, which can feel like, yeah, right, that's really happening. I feel very alone. But the universe is always there. The universe always has our back. The universe is the divine energy that we call God. If you want to know what the universe is, that's what I'm speaking of. So I want to read these words from Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook that goes right in line with this. To see that we have within us a power which is greater than anything we should ever contact. A power that can overcome every obstacle in our experience and set us safe, satisfied and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light and a new life. To grow into a more deeper, more fully alive knowing that truly God is all there is, and that each and every one of us are individualized expressions of this one divine energy of God itself. Holmes tells us in his book, Can We Talk to God? I believe in the brotherhood of humanity and a unity bringing all together in one perfect whole. I believe the Spirit is in the wind and wave and manifests its presence throughout all nature. But most completely, it manifests through our own minds and in our hearts. It proclaims our livingness and our lovingness. And in The Science of Mind, he writes this: we are members of the universe, meaning the world universe. We are members, okay? We're the human race. We are members. And being members of that which unites everything, we are some part of each other. Oneness. That's what we teach. Oneness. There's one divine energy, and we are all uniquely designed to express that energy. It's who we are. It's our eternal divine self. So after these bodies are gone, that self is alive and thriving and growing and growing. The concept that we are always being guided says that every experience that we have is here to guide us. It's guiding us. And bringing that into our awareness to know that. So please repeat this after me. Every experience I have individually.
Every experience I have individually
It's here to grow me.
is here to grow me
Into a greater understanding
into a greater understanding
of my oneness.
of my oneness.
And I know
And I know
that the universe has my back
that the universe has my back
while I grow.
while I grow.
Isn't that beautiful? Let me read it to you. I'll read it to you. Every experience we have collectively is here to grow us into a greater understanding of our oneness. And I know that the universe has our backs while we grow. Now, because we're always a choice, we always have a choice about anything in life. And when someone says, I hear them say, I didn't have a choice, I had to do this. I don't have a choice, I had to do this. We hear this a lot. I've said it, you know, and it's like every time now I have a trigger because I've washed my brain of that old concept. So brainwashing can be good. I think, yeah, I always have a choice. We always have a choice, even when it doesn't look like we have a choice. We can choose to grow or not. We can choose that. And whether we grow or not depends on our perspective of the situation. In other words, what color glasses do we have on? And we have talked in the past about the fact that there are really only two emotions, right? We know what they are, correct? Who knows?
Love and fear.
Love and fear. Everything comes from either love or it comes from fear. That clarifies so much for me, because when I'm feeling all kinds of things, I go, wait a minute, is this falling under fear? My body lets me know. Or is this falling under love? So, choice number one is that we can see everything through the perception of, the lens of love. And when we do that, we will grow into those things that we just discussed. Number two is we can see everything that happens through the perception of, the lens of fear. And when we do that, we won't grow, at least not now, because we go into fear. And so maybe at that moment, we don't feel like we're growing, but then as we contemplate what we went through, what took place, and as we let that innate guidance move us, it becomes clear. It becomes clear. No matter what the situation or the challenge is in my own life, as I go through it and my body reacts to it, I always ask myself, which is really, I'm asking the universal mind, what am I to learn here? I know there's something for me to learn, and I'm learning about myself. Even though it looks like other people, I'm learning about myself. So that's the first thing I go to. Now it's like automatic. I'm trained to do this. And I make a lot of my decisions, in fact, nearly all of them, from a place within. I don't listen a lot to the thoughts in the mind because they can lie to me. So I listen to my body. I listen to my gut. because my intuitive self, which resides there, will always give me the answers that are based in integrity and in love. And that's where I go to make my decisions on just about anything, even unpleasant situations. I go within. And it doesn't always feel pleasant, but it's the right decision, because you know when you get in touch with that gut intelligence, which is more intelligent than the heart and the head, when you get in touch with that, it never lies. Now when you try to go against it, it will keep coming up. You'll feel it in your physical body. So to me, this is kind of a gift. In fact, it's a great gift, because I just don't act from the mind, from ego. Bernstein writes this in her book: each instant is a holy encounter, providing a spiritual assignment in which you can choose to heal, which is to grow, or to stay stuck. If you choose to show up for these universal assignments, she writes, with a willingness to heal, then many miracles will be presented to you. But if you are unwilling to show up for these assignments, you will stay stuck in the stories and the experiences that do not serve you. You will be stuck in the story that the mind likes to play. It makes up all these stories about every kind of experience we're in. Can we truly look at everything that comes into our lives, into our experiences, everything, from a personal challenge to a global scale travesty, as coming in absolutely on purpose to heal us, for us to grow ourselves? It really takes a lot of clarity, and it takes a lot of courage, because it's so much easier to blame everyone else. It's so much easier. But when we take responsibility for our emotions, not for the situation is the situation, but for how we are responding to it, then that's where the growth comes in. So this thing in front of you, this issue, unfortunate maybe it is, problematic, scary, challenging problem, whatever it is, and if you don't have one, wait. That's all I can say. It's so nice when everything's going so smoothly, and life is like flowing, and oh, it's so good. Life is so good, and then whack. It's like, all right, I didn't see that one coming. I never see them coming. I didn't see that one coming. So just wait. Take this in and use it when you need to use it. I hope you never have to. I hope nothing ever happens in your life, except for good stuff. But this thing that comes into your life, when you perceive it through the vision of love, and the word love has such connotation. I still play with that word. To me, it means respect. It means integrity. It means kindness. It means all of those qualities. So when you perceive it through those qualities and see it as something that truly isn't as bad as we can make some things up to be, and remember, just to remember that the universe is always conspiring for our greater good. It always is. So that takes faith. That takes trust. And that takes the deepening into our own spiritual identity. What if you realize that something embedded inside or inherent in its actuality is here to grow us? Everything that takes place in our lives, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is here to grow us. How would you show up around it? Can we decide today, can we make a conscious decision today that we are being guided to grow into a greater expression of our divinity?
Yes.
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 Thank you. and into a greater realization of our oneness with the one life, the oneness of God itself. Not just with the divine, but also with one another. And that doesn't mean that we have to stay in a situation that feels abusive. We don't have to stay in a situation that is not for our benefit, and we will get that information too from our bodies. If we're in situations and relationships that do not serve us, sometimes the loving thing to do is to walk away from them. That is quite a few times, that is the loving thing to do. And it's not always easy, but it's necessary. That is still looking through the lens of love, as long as you don't have resentment and anger truly involved. As long as you are aligned with your integrity, because that is the most important gift that we really have. And that comes from within. It's a divine gift. It's a divine quality. So just because your mind tells you something, okay, something, this is awful, this is terrible, this is so scary, this is really negative, in any way, shape, or form, this is the other part of it, it doesn't mean you have to believe it. It doesn't mean you have to believe what your mind says. And you might say, okay, that's really big, that's huge, so let me say it again, because this is a big one. Just because your mind tells you something is awful or terrible or scary or otherwise negative in any way, shape, or form doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You don't have to. We can perceive it another way. Perception is one of our faculties. And likewise, just because other people say something is hopeless or crazy, as we heard in the sharing, because it's hopeless or crazy or broken to pieces doesn't mean it is. We can see it, we can perceive it in another way. No matter what is going on, we have that choice of perception. We, you and I, get to decide what story we tell ourselves about any situation. We get to do that. No one else gets to do that. That's important to remember, because people think it's their job to tell you what you should be thinking, and it's not. As I said to a client of mine, what other people think of me is none of my business. And if that's not a truest statement, I don't know what a truest statement could be. What anyone thinks about you is none of your business. It's what you think about you. That's the important thing in this life. And that is the power of perception, to know that we get to choose how we're going to look at any challenge. And the fact is, we can't change the challenge themselves. The challenge is there. The thing, whatever it is there, okay? And that's where the beauty of the serenity prayer comes in. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And then there's another version that I love too. There's a few versions. This is a great one. God grant me the serenity to accept the person I cannot change, the courage to change the person I can, and the wisdom to know that person is me. I'm going to write that out. I'm going to put that in my newsletter. That's a good one. That's a good one. No, we can't change the challenges themselves or the people involved in them. That part of the equation is set. But we can change the way we perceive them, and that makes all the difference. The effect of that is our experience. And that's for us to remember. Holmes writes this in Science of Mind: if we believe in suffering, we shall suffer. Life responds to us as in the way we approach it. We should choose that which we wish to embody, and by constant attention to it, take on all of its characteristics. Let us choose to be identified with power, with love, beauty, peace, and happiness. And as we read those words like that, those beautiful words, and shake our heads, yes, this is really good. Yeah, I love that peace and power and beauty, all of those, success, yes, let me identify with those things. And then I ask you, can you choose the perception, that same perception, toward whatever challenge that you might be going through this morning? You mean my challenge? You're talking about me. That's a different story. I can say that about other people. Beauty, love, joy, whatever it is. But you're going to take those qualities and put them into your personal challenge. That gives you a responsibility. Yeah, it's always going to be about you. Because what's the common denominator in everything you go through in life? You. You're always there. There's nowhere to go. You are always present in every challenge, in every joy, in every experience, all of it. And this is where the discipline comes in, because this really does require retraining the way we have been brought up to think, okay? So we have the discipline to choose the perception of love, to realize that the universe always has our back, always, and accept that challenge is here for us to deepen into our spiritual growth as we are growing. Or do we choose to listen to the stuff that goes on in our heads and even in our hearts sometimes, or even believe on what we hear on the TV, on news, to really believe that stuff? Most of it's not true. Somebody made it up. Like we do with our lives. We make stuff up and we believe it. Not the situation most of the time. If we can choose from the perception of love, of doing the right thing. Now, doing the right thing does not always feel good. It sometimes, most of the time, feels uncomfortable, especially if you're in the middle of a challenge. But you go within, you reflect, you get aligned, you listen to that place deep within, in your gut area, and you listen to it. And it feels really uncomfortable up here and even here, but you know it's right. You know it's right. This is your intuition. This is your divine guidance. So I'd like to end the talk this morning with this beautiful prayer from Bernstein's book. Thank you, universe, for presenting me with this divine assignment for spiritual growth and healing. I am ready and willing to show up for this assignment with love. I welcome your support. Show me where to go, what to do, what to say. I trust I am being divinely guided. So, right here, right now, let us remember in this room, let us remember in this space, somewhere we are together in heart and in mind. And these are the points to take with us. That the universe truly does have each and every one of our backs. That we are absolutely always being divinely guided for our growth and expansion. And that we have within us a power which is greater than anything we shall ever contact. A power that is beyond our imagination. We can't even conceive of this power, but it's within each and every one of us. That's what empowers us. You hear that word, empowerment. It's simple. It's coming from within, and it's our divinity, which is more powerful than any situation, any person, any challenge, any problem. That's the truth. That's the truth, and I will stick with it. And so it is.